Bigfoot comedies are as rare as the elusive beast himself. And with a title like 15 Things You Don't Know About Bigfoot, #1 will blow your mind, you know what you're getting into here. So you would think that means a plot full of fart jokes and a bad Bigfoot costume. But you would be wrong. Look past the title and you actually have a pretty good Bigfoot comedy here. First, we meet self-described clickbait journalist Brian Eamon and his camera guy, Zach. Brian desperately wants to become a real journalist, but he's really good at making a story out of nothing, even if he doesn't enjoy it.
Hey, Brian.
He just might have his big break, however, when he hears about a promotion that he's eligible for. Excited for what the future holds, and the hope of doing no more clickbait stories, he loads up for one final one. He's sent to Georgia to do a Bigfoot conference, and to eventually go out and hunt the beast. As he's waiting to go, one of Brian's co-workers loads up in the van too. This is Dirty $Signs and his crew, with the funniest being White Morpheus. $Signs' show is even worse than Brian's, and the title of it is even worse than this movie's title.
Suck my on land.
Brian finds out that $Signs had been set up with an interview with the Prime Minister of Canada.
I have to interview the Mayor of Canada, Justin Trudeau.
Well, he's not a mayor, he's a prime minister.
Right, but they own the metric system, so it's basically like a mayor.
No, it's basically like a president.
That means he got the promotion.
Really?
Being bummed out by this, Brian gets out and just walks to the airport.
Just walk.
So they gave my dream job to some stoner moron.
When they arrive, they get a lot of footage from the festival, and we can tell that Brian just isn't into this anymore, choosing to report on the area's drug problem over the festival. One funny joke they make here is that when they don't get enough footage, Brian tells Zach to just do a drone shot. He doesn't have a drone, so they just use stock footage with an obvious watermark.
No, we didn't, dude. You didn't even say the name of the town.
Okay, well, do drone shots or something. I don't care.
I don't have a drone.
They go around interviewing locals. One guy is a self-described camouflage expert who masks his scent with jars of pee all over his house.
That is my secret.
Okay. They meet up with a police officer who says it's just bears in the woods and advises them to stay out. When people go in and wander back too far, they end up missing. And finally, they interview Jeff Stevenson, or as he's better known on YouTube as the Cryptid Commander. A long time ago, Jeff got footage of the beast in the woods, and even found proof that Bigfoot uses tools. He did get some fame out of the incident, and even got a couple books published, but at the expense of losing his girlfriend to the obsession.
She doesn't want to be with me, but like I very much want to be with her. So
now he lives with his cousin Sid, who really hates cops.
If I had a chance, I'd take a swing at that cop.
Okay.
And he's just a little off his rocker. One running gag they have going on is to quote Jurassic Park, but Jeff says he's never seen it. They do it a few times, and each time it made me smile.
Well, there it is. Life finds a way.
From Jurassic Park.
No, I just made that up. You know, all these other Bigfoot hunters, they're just out here to make money, man. You know, they came out here and they collected their Bigfoot tracks. Before they knew what they had printed it, packaged it, and slapped it on the side of a lunchbox, and now they're selling it. They're selling it. And they were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they never stopped to think if they should.
Jurassic Park.
Oh, no, remember I told you I've never seen that movie.
Brian decides that he's had enough when he finds out that he's supposed to stay in the woods for a few nights with Jeff as their guide. He already doesn't want to do this story. Now throw him out there with some crazy guy he doesn't know? No way! But Zach calms him down and convinces him to just stay one night.
You'll take this seriously?
Yeah, on one condition.
What?
I'm sleeping indoors.
Look at this. Technically, it's indoors.
So that's what they do. They set up camp and hunker down for the night. Before going to bed, they ask if Jeff is armed, which he isn't, saying that Bigfoot hates guns. In the middle of the night, Brian is woken up and he hears something outside. At first, you don't really hear anything. I even turned the volume up really loud, but still, nothing. And then we get it. A howl. Zach and Brian go outside, and just on the other side of the trees is something. But of course, the battery goes dead. When the camera gets turned back on, it's morning, and their campsite is trashed. They even find a frying pan that was broken in half. Now, Brian is convinced. Maybe this story is worth his time after all. So he agrees to interview Jeff and do a story on him. He goes around teaching him how to do Bigfoot calls and shows him some alleged Bigfoot structures. It's really goofy and doesn't really help prove the existence of the creature at all, but Jeff promises to show him a lake, which will change everything. They follow Jeff all day to this lake, and wouldn't you know it, they get lost, forcing them to spend another night in the woods. That night, around the fire, Brian and Zach talk about how unhappy Brian has been lately, and the show is starting to suffer because of it. Zach reminds him that it's not all about Brian, and that this is Zach's career too, telling Brian he should just be happy with his job. He gets to hang out in the woods with his friend, and yeah, that sounds pretty good to me.
Hey, I'm sorry I was such a prick yesterday.
In the morning, when the sun comes up and lights everything up, they find the lake, and things get deep for a minute. Jeff talks about how a lot of the man-made lakes in Georgia are all drying up, and he might be the last person to see this one before it's gone. Brian realizes that, yeah, Jeff has a pretty cool life. He makes YouTube videos and hunts Sasquatch in the woods.
I mean, it's not glamorous.
And he gets to see stuff like this lake.
You've got a cool life.
Jeff also reflects on his personal life and how when his girlfriend dumped him, his whole family, including his own mother, agreed with her. But he doesn't care. He knows Bigfoot is real, and it's all worth it. Back in the tent, Zach sees on Brian's phone a job offer for PBS, which wouldn't include Zach as his cameraman. Brian picks up the phone and hides it from Zach. They say that they're determined to get out of the woods today. But it's quite the opposite. They just keep going deeper and deeper until they come across some no trespassing signs. And a little past that is a dead hunter, which they assume Bigfoot did it.
Do you think this is one of those, like, bear attacks?
You think a bear is capable of this?
Hey guys, it's me.
Jeff goes off on his own to record for his show, and there he admits to the camera that he was the figure in the woods the first night. He just wanted the other guys to stay with him, and was only trying to spice up their story. That's when he sees something in the bushes, and it looks big.
They're right on top of me.
Then it's right behind him, and Jeff is knocked out. Back to Brian and Zach, and as luck would have it, the cop found him. They realize that this nightmare is just about over, and they tell him everything, including the dead body that they found. Just as a precaution, the cop tells them to get into some handcuffs. Confused by this, the guys refuse, but then two other guys with guns come out of the woods and demand that he put the cuffs on. Something else is going on here.
It's about time we turn this off.
When they wake up, they find that all three of them have been locked up and taken prisoner in a huge drug house run by a known criminal, Ma Pritchard. So that's what's really going on here. Deep in the woods is a drug cartel that even the police are in on, and our heroes just got captured. They take Zach to torture him so he'll talk, and they notice that the P guy that they interviewed earlier is there too.
So they just kidnapped all three of us.
Jeff is pretty bummed to find out that Bigfoot isn't real, and he's not really worried about this very serious situation that they're in right now. Brian comes up with an elaborate plan to escape, but then Jeff just pulls out some keys and unlocks their handcuffs. Turns out he's an Eagle Scout, and Scouts are always prepared. Now, all they have to do is save Zach and get out of there.
There's a man who needs saving, and I'm gonna be the one to do it.
Is it me?
Oh, yeah, there's him too. There's only one guy keeping guard over Zach, and Jeff is able to easily break his neck. They all go running as the bad guys shoot at him, and eventually they catch up and threaten them again. This time, making the obligatory hillbillies in the woods deliverance reference.
Now, we were just gonna kill you. But now, we gotta go straight up deliverance on your asses. We're gonna what? We are gonna mess them up.
Hey, is there anything you want to tell me?
Just as all hope is lost,
I'm sorry.
and Brian knows he's gonna die,
For everything.
Bigfoot shows up.
Stay completely still. His vision's based on movement.
He is real, and he doesn't like guns, taking everyone out that's shooting at him. This gives the others time to escape, and they run all the way back to the road. Just as they think they're safe, the cop pulls out in front of them and takes aim. He radios for backup, and then plants a gun. Just as he's about to shoot, Sid comes out of nowhere, and because of his extreme hatred for cops, he makes quick work of him. In the end, we see that the drug bust makes the news, including the Sasquatch sighting, and we see that Jeff has given up on his obsession and is back with his girlfriend. As for Brian and Zach, well, they're still doing the same clickbait news articles, but now they at least enjoy the work, because they're together. And that was 15 things you didn't know about Bigfoot. Number 1 will blow your mind. And it surprised me. Although I didn't learn 15 things about Bigfoot and my mind was certainly not blown, it was entertaining nonetheless. It was shot well. The main cast was pretty good. Brian and Zach had this ongoing drama where Zach was happy with them being buddies just working together, and Brian wanted more, even if it meant taking that job offer at PBS and leaving his friend behind. In the end, that was resolved and the guys stuck together. The biggest highlight for me has got to be that Bigfoot did indeed show up. I thought when they got kidnapped, all hope of seeing the big guy was gone, but no, they delivered. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy with the short glimpses we got to see of it. Finally, a movie that gets it right by making it a huge hulking beast and not just a guy in a suit just 6 foot tall. There are a few jokes that fall flat and it is boring here and there, but overall, I recommend this movie. Finally, a Bigfoot movie that I can recommend. I give 15 things you didn't know about Bigfoot 3 watermarked drone shots out of 4.
Y'all think there's Sasquatches up here in Georgia?
Ma, it ain't that ridiculous. Like, Bigfoot's real.
You're not bringing that up again, are you?
I'm just saying, like, the skunk ape's real, and